Before we start with this review of this custom Weapon X statue, I want to acknowledge that I am not George Lucas Light and Design. The lighting is going to be really bad in this video no matter what I do. Truth be told, the lighting's bad in all my videos.
Yes, very sad. Anyway.
Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey everyone, a highly anticipated statue is finally here. Yes, this is a custom quarter scale Weapon X in tank. Logan, Wolverine, the X-Men, the Mutant, with adamantium claws, super healing power, and there is a lot to cover. I do apologize about this lighting. I tried it with the spotlights off, I tried it with the spotlights on. The cam lights in the ceiling just always reflect off this circular acrylic surround here. Tube, cylindrical. Lots of fancy words today. So I got to tell you right off the bat, I'm wowed. I'm really wowed that this piece actually came to fruition. However, I'm very shocked about a few things too. As a spoiler, I do love it, but not as much as I love some of the other statues that are made by this producer. Now, a big question that's going to be in the comments, Mr. X, I want that, where do I get this? Unfortunately, it's been sold out for years, and I can't give any information on it. Your best bet, if you want to buy something like this, is look on the secondhand market. Specifically, Facebook buy-sell trade groups is probably your best bet when it comes to getting custom statues. But anyway, so the reason why this is such a big deal is so many people said this couldn't be done. They said, you know what, that's too hard of a concept, never going to happen. The dynamics of it just won't work. Well, I think they were wrong. So we're going to review this entire thing today, and it's not going to be a really traditional review. I guess it will be, but it'll have a few nuances. What I mean by that is some of the video review when we do close-ups, I actually did before I put him in the case. In fact, I think he's going to be upside down, and you're going to see why in the assembly. But that way you can get some close-ups of this guy, because like I said, I know the vantage point right here is pretty bad because of that reflective surface. Also, there's fingerprints all over this too. Seems like no matter how well you try and keep it clean, it just doesn't work. Now, before we start off with the concept of this piece, in full disclosure, I've owned about 50 Wolverine statues, so I think I'm a pretty good judge. And some of them were actually Weapon X statues. Check out these older videos. So first, this was a custom versus licensed XM Studios, and I liked both of those. And then after I got rid of those, I actually got this one, which I didn't like as much, but I still think it was really cool. It's based off a slab cover. And I sold all those in anticipation of this one. This one's going to stay. He's actually going to go in a new display I'm setting up. It's all my favorite Marvel characters. So I have a Magneto, a Wolverine. We're going to put a Hulk, Venom, and more. If you want to see what that looks like where he's displayed, check out the Extreme Channel social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, let's get to the man of the hour, Wolverine. So clearly the concept on this is amazing because it's never been done. So this is the tank when they were injecting him with the adamantium. So he was in the army, and a special project, they knew his healing factor could actually take the adamantium, which is an indestructible metal. So in theory, he's supposed to be in water, but clearly you wouldn't want to do that in a statue because it wouldn't end well. They have the X on the front because he was Weapon X. He was the 10th iteration of this project. You have pipes and tubes and hoses and everything going into this capsule that he's in. And he is suspended in air because he is hanging in the water, obviously, that you can't really see any water. I'm glad they didn't. I know they teased about doing a little bit of visibility like water on the side, but then it would just take away from the fact of being able to see Wolverine. Now, Wolverine has about 50 injection sites on him, which we're going to talk about during design. Some are just little pins. Some are actually tubes and hoses from his belt, from his helmet, from above. And they're all different kinds too, which is kind of the crazy thing. The assembly was fun as shit on this. But here he is wearing his classic Weapon X helmet. But of course, there are some switch outs we're going to talk about. And this capsule just looks amazing. I love it. Concept is a 5 out of 5. If it could be a higher score, it absolutely would. Design. Very impressed by this design. This was no easy task, and not only did they pull it off well. However, there are a few things I would have liked to seen different. So let's talk about those after the unboxing and assembly. Now, in full disclosure, some of the unboxing and assembly I forgot to hit record, and it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, but it was still a little bit of a pain, which was expected. So two huge boxes that arrived days apart. Now one of the boxes they beat the shit out of. Even the inner art box was destroyed. Thankfully nothing was broken. Here is the art box, kind of cool. Standard black foam with straps you typically find on customs. So one had the base and some of the wires and plugs. Here is the bottom level of that's still the base. And the other one had the acrylic tube, a few other things on the first layer. And then the second layer, all the pieces of Wolverine and a few others.
Previously on X-Men.
I'm going to measure him. So the base is about a 19-inch diameter, maybe a little bit more. And this is over 31 inches tall, just over 31 inches tall. So he takes up a lot of space for a 1/4 scale statue. I talked about some switch outs. They did some switch out portraits. Here they are before he was in the capsule. Obviously you have one where he's wearing the helmet. This is the traditional Weapon X. Then there's another one where he just has a mask on his front, and you can see the traditional Wolverine hair. His eyes are closed on all these because he's in the water. And then another one where he's sleeping or so. Kind of an interesting portrait. Now the portraits did look underscaled, so I put them next to another Wolverine, and this Wolverine is overscaled. And then I actually took the body, and I was like, you know what, let me put it next to a Wolverine, but all the other Wolverines are hunching over. So it was really hard to tell. I feel like the portraits might be a tiny bit underscaled, about 5%, but I think the body is actually right. Although when I initially took it out, I didn't think it was. All right, so two issues with the design I have. First of all, if you want to switch out these portraits, it's the biggest pain in the ass. You almost can't. It's almost prohibitively so. You have to completely take the top out and then risk everything falling. So that's a negative, but I don't know a better way to do it, so it's hard to judge them on that. Another thing, okay, there were more than two things. There were some nasty seam lines in the arms. You can see it right here. But again, I don't know how to do it otherwise, and they're decently minimal, but they are visible for sure. Then the third thing, he had all these holes in his body, which I didn't even notice when I was putting him together. So I put him in, and then I found this little bag of like cartridges or something, and I figured they went in the holes. So 2 different times I took him back out of the capsule, and Mrs. X and I used a flashlight to insert these in as many holes as we could. She wouldn't say that. Yep. I'm trying to think of a joke, but it just won't fit.
That's what she said.
And even after 2 times, we still missed one. There's one right in the front on the forearm. Now, I have a few issues with these. Number one, yes, they're hard to get in there. They just use friction, so a few of them fell out. Not horribly so. It was designed better than I thought it would be. 2, I don't like you have to display them because, frankly, I don't like them. I mean, are they injection sites where other tubes were? I don't really get the purpose to them. I would have preferred without it, especially knowing what a pain in the ass they are. How if you miss one, it's evident that there's a hole in his body. Some of them wouldn't stay in. So I think that's something they could have changed as opposed to the other things. Post-video edit, I would have also liked to see his dog tag hanging on him. Now, I don't know, he might have got them after the tank, but I think that's a miss in my opinion. Should have been dog tags. Now, one thing they did that was really cool is there was a light-up feature. So here's a picture of it not lit up. And then here's a picture of it lit up. And they did give you a remote to change the colors, which is nice. The disadvantage to this light up feature, and again, I don't know a way to make it better, is actually you have to plug in at the top the AC adapter because that's where the light up is. You couldn't do it in the bottom and have the light shine from the top. If you had the light in the bottom, you'd actually see it when you looked in. So kind of inconvenient to have a plug-in at the top, but again, I don't know a better way to do it. So with all that, I think the design is still a 4 out of 5. I'm still impressed by it. I like it a lot. This was a damn hard thing to accomplish, and they did. Paint and sculpt is actually where I think they missed. Now, traditionally, this comes from one of my favorite custom groups. My best pieces are from this custom group, and paint and sculpt is what they're really good at. Here they weren't. Now, it's not bad by any means, as you're going to see. And I almost wonder, did they not want as much detail or put as much into Logan himself because you really can't see him as much? Was that intentional? Was it an accident? Was it just such a difficult project? Let's get it done. I don't know. But here's some video review with and without the capsule. So as stated, here he is without the container on. He also doesn't have any of the hoses. And as you saw during the assembly, that's how you have to do it. So really quick, I think his anatomy is fine. He's not as bulky as most Wolverines are, and they sculpted the hair all over him. I'm not a huge fan of this, but as you saw, it does look better with the glass encasement on. But it's fine. There is a decent amount of detail. You can see veins in his leg from his toenails here. The claws are not metal, but they're as close to metal as you can probably come. So I appreciate that. But yeah, the way the hair is, and you see this on a lot of Wolverines, especially like the back of the forearms there, like super hairy. And when it's sculpted in, it just kind of looks funky like that. The intricacy of the machine and that stuff is pretty damn good. I like how it's really clean silver they painted. Makes you really think of, kind of like the claws. And then there's a ton of detail in even the little packs that are attached to them. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there. It does have a little bit of a toyish look to it because of the nature of it. Portraits are fine, not a lot of detail in them that you typically see in a Wolverine face. So I'm going to show you side by side one of them. And it's from a professionally painted one. It's actually from my Samurai Wolverine back there. So you can see significant difference in the details of those. So really the sculpt on Wolverine's portrait is average, I would say. Nothing to write home about, especially compared to some other ones. But I definitely wanted to show you some of this before we put the casing on. So the real logic, though, goes, the creator of this makes some of the best sculpts that I have. I mean, it's probably my favorite custom group by far. Did they lack some of the details because they knew it would be overpowered by the case? Was that intentional? Was it not? Because as you saw, it looks a lot better with the case on due to that lack of really intense detail or sculpt in Wolverine himself. So let's look at it with the case on. So I actually turned the spotlights off for this, but that way you won't see the reflection as much. But no matter what, on the main camera, when I'm sitting right there, you see the cam lights above shining on it. So let's look at the actual capsule first. I think it looks great. I think it looks weathered. So it's this old research facility that they've used for a long time. See all the rust throughout? I think that makes it look great in my opinion. I'm a big fan. All the different tubes and piping. It's very symmetrical, which I love. Not only the X symbol in the middle. And the reason why I allow this, even though it's a nameplate, and I hate nameplates, is simply the fact this was Weapon X. The gauges are very rudimentary. These look horrible in my opinion. They look toyish, plasticish, unfortunately. I think that's a miss. I could remove them, but there are some keyholes, and I do like the concept part of it. The inside of the capsule looks great. Different silver really gives it a good contrast. Clean, especially when you think of adamantium and his claws. So here's some more pictures of him. We already saw the close-up without the capsule, but it looks really, really nice in my opinion. Now that you have the capsule on, it kind of hides some of those flaws we saw with the paint and sculpt where it could have been much better. Yeah, so like this is the money for me. It's like, yeah, this was a little disappointing on the sculpt. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just average. You can see all the injection sites here, and there's the hole I was talking about. The piping looks great, very clean on the paint, and again, so clean on the paint on the belt. So really cool overall. And you can't see it as much. There's some smudges on the glass of areas I didn't even touch. Just came like that from the factory, so got to constantly keep it clean, kind of a pain in the ass, but pretty cool. Sculpt, I think, is a 3 out of 5. It's good. It could be better. Not a fan of the hair as much as we talked about. or the portraits. I think that was a miss. Paint, I think, is a 4 out of 5, though, because it's still painted really well, especially when you consider all the metal pieces and all the detail, especially around his belt and stuff. So, yeah, a little disappointed as I've bought Logans from them before, Wolverines, and they were some of the best Wolverines ever. This is just average, I believe, especially due to the sculpt. Is he worth it? So they made over 100 of these. I think it was 120 or 130. I can't remember, and I don't want to lift up the bottom of it because I've had this sitting here for about a week. But $1,500, so hefty price tag. I don't question the price tag at all. I mean, this is a lot. A lot went into this. Plus, you had to pay a couple $100s for shipping. So in the aftermarket, these are probably going for $1,500 to $2,500. Do I think I could get my money back? I do. I think this is such a unique concept. People will want this. While it's a really high edition size and the statue market and economy isn't good when I'm filming this, I think the value's still very strong because nothing has been done like this and nothing will be done like this. So I still think the value is a 4 out of 5. I plan on keeping this. I wish I could actually line it up with my other iterations of Wolverine right behind me. I have a soldier, I have a wilderness, I have a samurai, I have a fatty, I have a regular Wolverine right up there. So I can't because he would dwarf them in size, so he's going to look good in that display I'm putting him in. Regarding the X Factor, of course he has the X Factor. He's a 5 out of 5 statue overall. This is not something you see every day. It's incredibly unique. I absolutely love it. I'm going to keep him for a long time. Definitely the quintessential Weapon X for me. But what do you guys think? Is the value worth it on this? If you had the money, would you throw this down? If you're a Wolverine fan. If you're not a Wolverine fan and you're just watching for me, I appreciate that. And I appreciate even more that I know you're going to leave a comment, not only to help support the channel, but to enter you into the statue giveaway. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thank you so much, everybody. Super excited to have this piece. I can't wait to see what he looks like in the display. Gonna do that next and hopefully not break my back. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Naked Wolverine, Luke Skywalker. Did Luke Skywalker steal from him or Wolverine steal from Luke Skywalker concept?